Hi everybody, this is Anup Kumar. Warm welcome to the webinar for Introduction to Program Management Professional PGMP Certification. Myself, Anup Kumar, certified in PMP and PGMP. I would like to give you a short introduction about myself. Myself having extensive experience in IT industry since last 15 years, right from 2000. In managing various information technology projects and programs in public and private sector for multinational banks like Standard Chartered, HSBC, and Barclays within the regions India, Qatar, and UK. And I also manage various high critical applications in banking domain like anti-money laundering and IT security projects, and implementing strategic projects and programs like ISO 27000 implementation and CMMI level 5 implementation programs, and also involved in developing PMO and strategic implementation of project and program management office across the organization. And I'm certified in PMP and PGMP. PMP I'm certified in 2010, and PGMP I got my accreditation in the year 2012. As you are aware, there are only less than 2,000 management professionals worldwide are certified in PGMP. Hence, this PGMP certified group is considered as an elite management group in the world. And myself, I'm the 746th person worldwide and 36th from India to get PGMP certification, and the first PGMP certified from the state of Kerala. And I have authored various training materials for the best interest of PMP and PGMP certification aspirants who can benefit from all over the world. And my other part is I also play chess. I have my FIDE international rating. So let's focus on the PGMP aspect. So the topic for today's webinar is as follows. We'll discuss about what is PMI and what are the certifications the PMI can offer and what are the benefits are in more detail. And we also talk about the training providers in terms of program management professional certification taken into consideration. We also touch base the high-level details about triple P structure. The triple P stands for project, program, and portfolio. We also talk about eligibility requirements, prerequisites, and benefits for PMP and PGMP certification. And we also talk about how the roadmap looks like for the PGMP certification process and your PGMP certification journey, how it looks like. And we also talk about an overall overview about the PGMP certification. And since this is a webinar presentation, I'm sure you may have certain questions during the course of the webinar. So please post your questions in the chat window. So at the end of the webinar, I'll be happy to go through the questions and then address those with my answers. Here we go. Let's start with what is PMI. Basically, PMI stands for Project Management Institute, which is established in 1969 with global headquarters in Pennsylvania. It had around 250 chapters approximately all over the world, at a minimum around 70 countries worldwide. And it has more than around 500,000, 500,000 PMI members and credential holders across the world. And PMI is run by a group of volunteers. So it promotes project management best practices worldwide. And I would not be wrong if I say that they are taking the complete ownership in terms of the best practices for project, program, and portfolio across the management spectrum. So that's why it's become a norm nowadays when it comes to project and program and portfolio management practices. We touch base PMI as a reference point. And PMI offers certifications which have become an industry standard as if today in management market is concerned. When we look at certifications, what PMI can offer, these are the list of certifications. PMP, Project Management Professional Certification, so which is considered to be the core certification from PMI. It started around 3 decades ago, so that was the flagship project actually from PMI point of view. And the second certification, which is CAPM, Certified Associate of Project Management. Those who don't satisfy the prerequisites for PMP certification, who may marginally miss the eligibility criteria, may consider to go for CAPM certification. And the next is PGMP, the Program Management Professional Certification. which is recently introduced by PMI. When I say recently, it's around 8 years ago. Compared to PMP certification, it is quite recent. The reason behind this, PMP is introduced almost 3 decades ago by PMI. And fundamentally, PGMP certification is considered to be the immediate next level for PMP certification, considering the project managers as from the career roadmap perspective. The next level, what they will likely to look at would be the program management. So from certification standpoint, the next level to PMP would be more appropriate to say PGMP certification. And next is PMI scheduling professional, PMI SP. Now, those who find that the management spectrum is more focused in terms of schedule management in particular, they may go for scheduling professional, PMI SP certification. And there are certain management professionals who may have extensive exposure from risk management domain, like for example, who work in IT security industry or certain core banking industry, where the risk management profile would be more appropriate. So such type of professionals may consider to take RMP certification, the risk management professional as a certification, which is again one of the certification from the PMI's list. And the last but not least, you also have ACP, Agile Certified Professional. This certification is again in line with the project management spectrum in terms of managing projects in agile environment, where the changes driving the project. So what happens, the changes are more dynamic, where the business environment focus on dynamically changing nature and how you manage projects apart from the traditional waterfall life cycle by incorporating the agile best practices taken into consideration. So such type of projects may have the agile best practices are being used widely. So the certified professionals, they may look for agile ACP certification in particular. And overall, these are the specific certifications which follow certain specific disciplines accordingly. And as a management professional, you may also have a combination of certification. For example, during your project management period, you may go for PMP certification to start with. And as you proceed further and managing multiple projects together, then you may consider to go for PGMP certification. So you may have a combination of PMP and PGMP. Or you may find that you already have a PMP certification and you're extensively working in the risk management domain. Then you may consider to go for RMP. So you may have a PMP plus RMP certification. So these type of combinations may exist. And all this certification, it all has its own disciplines, and also it has its own specific benefits based on the respective discipline. Let's look at what are the benefits of PMI certifications. Fundamentally, all PMI certifications are very much flexible in nature. The PMI certifications, when I say flexible, they are not specifically based on a specific methodology or a specific approach. It's very much flexible in nature and adaptable between industries, because we are talking about diversified industries across the globe, because there can be IT industry, automobile industry, telecom industry, network industry, construction. So there can be a number of industries. So in all these industries, there are certain consistent layers, like they'll be undertaking projects, programs, portfolio. So the best practices are very much adaptable in nature and can be easily fine-tuned based on the respective industrial practices in line with the best practices in management, which is outlined by PMI certification. That's why it is more flexible in nature. And as a management professional, it will keep you up to date certainly. That is where actually, when you get PMP certification, so as a part of your continuous learning process, you may update yourself with a higher level of skill set, which is more appropriate to manage multiple projects in a common umbrella, for example, by going for a PGMP certification. So this PMI certification will offer you this continuous growth in the career ladder. And PGMP certification is one level, and there is one more certification which is recently introduced by PMI. It's called as PFMP, which is Portfolio Management Professional, considered to be the next level of PGMP certification. So in the sphere of portfolio level. And some more advantages of the PMI certifications are to encourage professional growth. So as a management professional, by developing the skills in continuous basis and keeping yourself in sync with the current best practices in your industry, in the technical sphere, and also you will be able to correlate with the best practices related with PMI. And there are various other best practices also we talk in terms of overall professional sphere, like there could be ISO best practices, CMMI level best practices, TOGAF, ITIL, so there will be a lot of other best practices also. The good part is, majority of these best practices complement each other. So that's why as a management professional, as you grow in your career ladder, you will understand that how this one best practice talk to each other best practice, and then how they both can complement overall for the organizational benefit taken into consideration. And the most important benefit of PMI certification is it's renowned throughout the world, because that is where the entire marketability of PMI comes into picture, where it's considered as the most prestigious certification from PMI. That's why if you see the job market, especially for a management position, for a project manager or a program manager, you may find that PMP certification is considered as a prerequisite to apply for the job, particularly for project managers. And in some part of the globe, like US and Canada, where actually the number of PGMP certified professionals are more, they will specifically look for the candidates who are PGMP certified to manage program and also to manage projects in a senior management capacity. So these are fundamentally certain benefits for PMI certifications. Before we talk about program, it's very important to understand what is project in the first place. And those who are already certified in PMP will know clearly what is a project in terms of PMI's point of view, because certain organizations may classify project and define project in a different way. So we talk about consistency in terms of best practices. So when we look at consistency, and also when we look at commonality, which is specifically defined by PMI, the project, by definition, it's a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product or service or result. So this is a specific definition which comes from PMI. And when we relook at this statement very clearly, there are certain specific areas to be emphasized. That is, a project is a temporary endeavor. When we say temporary, it means that it has a definite beginning and a definite end date. It is not an ongoing effort. For example, if I say that I start a project now and I don't know when is the end date and I keep continuing, maybe that type of efforts better addressed as an operational effort, which is ongoing in nature, rather than calling it as a project. So a project means it has a specific start date and a specific end date, and it has its own specific objective in mind. So once when the project objective is satisfied, then the project is considered to be successful. So that's why the temporary nature is one of the important aspect of the project's definition. And second is to create a unique product or service or result. When we talk about uniqueness, the uniqueness can be every project is unique in nature because the type of resources used and the objectives and the environmental factors which are surrounded by the project, all this will show the uniqueness of the project. At the end, actually, the project is expected to deliver a product or any service oriented or a result oriented. So that's the purpose of initiating a project. For example, constructing a building can be a project. Implementing an IT software or an IT application, so can be a project. So everything has specific project objective in mind, and a temporary nature in terms of start and end date can be called as a project. So when we look at uniqueness, as we discussed, it can be a product or service which is different in some way from the other product or service which is existing in the market. So that is where actually the uniqueness of the project comes into picture. And when we talk about the temporary nature and unique nature, the projects are also progressively elaborated. When we say progressively elaborated, which means that proceeding by steps. So every project will have a specific phases in mind. So it will get proceeded with step by step, and it will have an incremental nature of obtaining benefits upon completion of every phases. So also it will be elaborated once when the phase 1 work is completed, then the next phase activities will get started upon completion of the sign off from the phase 1. And also the project management plan is also expected to be created and also to be continued based on a progressively elaborated nature. For example, if it is a 5-year project, so it will be unrealistic to have a detailed level of project plan in the first place. So what we can do is, the near-term deliverables for the first 6 months or 1 year, you may have a detailed plan, and you may have a high-level plan for the rest of the years. And then actually, as you proceed further, when you get more clarity for your near-term deliverables, then you can convert that high level to a detail level. So this type of approach is called as a progressive elaboration, where you progressively elaborate your plan and manage your project. So that's something which we talk from a very high level about what is project. And keeping what is project as a context, when you look at what is project management, the application of the project manager's knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities in order to meet all the project requirements is called as project management overall. And to efficiently do the project management, we have 5 major process groups, which is considered to be the project initiation, project planning, project execution, project monitoring and controlling, and project closing. So basically, these are the 5 major process groups which defines the overall project management life cycle, right from initiating the project to closing the project successfully. So we'll not talk more from project management, so we'll move to the program management. Right. Now let's look at what is a program. Fundamentally, a program is nothing but a group of related projects managed in a coordinated way to obtain coordinated benefits, whereas the control is not available by managing them individually. So this is a specific statement which comes as a definition from the Standards of Program Management, also known as SPM, which is created by the PMI book. So when you look at the statement more in detail, it talks about a group of related projects, which means that there could be a number of projects. It can be managed in isolation by the respective project management best practice. But however, there is a stage where if you find certain projects which are related to one another and can have a coordinated benefits by having certain interdependencies in place, for example, the internal resource dependencies, or a coordinated way of managing procurements by managing across projects by having a centralized procurement umbrella. So there can be several levels of interdependencies where actually all the project objectives can be related to a common coordinated benefit which can get fetched. So in that context, you can club all these projects together and then manage under a common umbrella, and that common umbrella we are calling it as a program. And the way how we manage is the best practices based on program management, as simple as that. So if the projects are not related or cannot be coordinated, then actually it's not worth to merge these projects in a program. Rather, you can keep the projects isolated as a project of portfolio, where it can be governed directly under the portfolio's responsibility, rather than calling it as a program. So that's why you have to be very careful that when you are clubbing projects, it should fetch benefits. It should also have certain level of interdependencies within, where it can't be managed in isolation. So that's why you're managing it in a common umbrella as a program. When we talk from an example point of view, for example, a process improvement program in an organization can be considered as an overall, which talks about the holistic nature of how an organization can improve the process from one level to the second level. So they can initiate several projects in order to satisfy the objective of the program. For example, implementing a CMMI level 5 certification can be one project which can come within the program of process improvement program, where achieving the CMMI level 5 implementation can be considered as a one level of project component get satisfied, so that actually the part of the benefit within the program is achieved. And implementing ISO 27001 certification or ISO 9000 certification can be also considered as one of the project which can be part of the program. So there can be several level of process improvements which can be identified and then actually can be grouped together and then can be managed together under a common umbrella as a process improvement. And once when certain specific projects are completed, then it will deliver the benefits, and these benefits are well coordinated, and then it supports the overall program's benefits on the best interest of program. So basically, the program is composed of various components. The term component is very much used in the standards of program management. When we say components, it can be a project, or it can be even a sub-project, or it can be even a sub-program, or it can be an operational effort also. because certain operational efforts can also be considered within the program, where we call it as a benefits sustainment stage, which will be again part of the program life cycle. And it also considered from the infrastructure needed for the program management to effectively manage the program by having the program management offers and various other infrastructure which is needed for the program team. Ultimately, why we need the program? To deliver coordinated benefits to the organization. And when we talk about benefits, the benefits can be tangible or intangible benefit. So there can be two types of benefit, which is tangible in nature and intangible in nature. So when we say tangible benefit, which means that it can be easily quantifiable, where you can count the benefits. For example, I'm initiating a program today, and which fetches a revenue of $5 million as a return on investment. So this type of benefit, I can say that specific cost benefit, which can be easily measurable. So such type of benefit is considered as a tangible benefit. And there can be so many benefits which can't be clearly countable, like for example, repetitive business, right? Or certain specific improvement in market flexibility and improvement in the shareholder interest. So these things actually which cannot be clearly quantifiable, where there can be certain guidelines can be there to have certain level of high level look and feel to understand there is a possible benefit involved in it upon realizing those and tangible. That type of benefits are considered as intangible benefits. So overall, a program can deliver benefit which is a combination of tangible and intangible benefits. Okay, having talked about the program, let's look at certification point of view. So any management professional who hold sufficient level of experience in the sphere of project and program management, we'll talk about eligibility shortly after. So the person who has sufficient degree of project and program management experience so can apply for PGMP certification. So it's very important that as a program manager, you have to demonstrate a proven ability to manage complex, which are considered to be multiple projects with high magnitude and complexity. When we talk about large programs, which means that higher level of magnitude and complexity involved and a higher number of resources, and maybe possibly a multi-million-dollar project in terms of cost, and also number of resources was spread across various geographical regions, right? And multi-year schedule possibly. So these specific factors may determine the level of magnitude and complexity involved in a respective program. So such type of efforts can be considered to document for your program management efforts as part of your eligibility prerequisite for the certification. However, PMP certification is not a prerequisite to apply for PGMP. So in case you're a management professional who hold sufficient level of project and program management experience, but during your project management journey, in case you might not have finished your PMP certification, no problem. You can directly go for PGMP certification at this point in time, since in case you have completed your necessary prerequisite needed for PMP and PGMP. And as far as the number of certified professionals are concerned, there are only less than 2,000 management professionals worldwide are certified in PGMP. Hence, it's considered as a elite management group in the world. Now, let's look at PGMP eligibility criteria. Basically, there are two sets of candidates with two specific set in terms of educational qualification will be approaching the certification. Basically, like those candidates who don't have a bachelor degree, who hold only secondary diploma or a high school diploma or associate's degree or global equivalent. So such type of candidates who don't have the graduation, you may need to show minimum of 4 years, that is 6,000 hours of project management experience, which is non-overlapping in nature. And also you may need to show 10,500 hours, which is at least a minimum of 7 years of program management experience. Altogether, 4 plus 7, 11 years of overall management experience, which is needed at a minimum for non-graduate holders. In case if you are holding a bachelor degree, preferably a 4-year degree, then you may need to show minimum of 4 years that is 6,000 hours of project management experience, and then you may need to show minimum 4 years of program management, that is 6,000 hours of program management experience. So altogether we are talking about 4 plus 4, 8 years of overall management experience, which is needed to apply for this PGMP certification. In order to document your program management experience, you can go back right from the day when you're filling the application. Right from that day, you can go back to 15 years prior to the application filling date, and then you can articulate your program management experience within these 15 years, any of the program that you manage, in order to mention the list of programs in the application. It's preferable to highlight 1 or 2 programs which can satisfy the minimum prerequisite, or you can go up to maximum of 3 programs. However, the number of programs in terms of quantity is not much important, but the quality of information, what you'll be presenting in terms of articulating your program management experience in the right way, that's more important. So the quality is more important as far as your application filling process is concerned, rather than the quantity in terms of number of programs. And it's highly advisable to go through the PGMP handbook, which is a free copy available in PMI.org website, which will talk about the high-level details in terms of the do's and don'ts and also the certification journey. We'll also touch base in this webinar, part of the PGMP handbook related area. It's highly advisable to go through that once. And to reiterate the point again, it's not a prerequisite to have PMP certification to apply for PGMP. As a management professional, as long as you're satisfying the necessary number of years in project and program management based on your educational qualification, you can directly go for PGMP certification without any element of doubt. And considering the credential fee, the fee that you'll be directly paying to the PMI, so this is how the payment structure looks like. In case you're a PMI member, which means that you have to pay around $150 around to get the PMI membership. In case your membership is active, you can go for computer-based testing, which is highly recommended, where actually you can take the PGMP exam in any chromatic center worldwide. So in this case, you'll be paying $800 US, which is equivalent to 655 euros. In case you're a non-PMI member, you may need to pay $1,000, which is equivalent to 815 euros. It's highly advisable to take the PMI membership before actually submit your application, so that you'll be saving marginal cost benefit, and also you have access to PMI resources for a period of 1 year, so that actually you can even download the standards of project, program, portfolio, and various other standards as a PMI member copy, which is absolutely free for you. So it's highly advisable to take the membership from PMI before actually you can submit your application. And other than computer-based test, you also have a paper-based test for PGMP. For members, the payment will be $700 US, equivalent of 570 euros. And for paper-based testing, for non-members, it's $900 US, equivalent of 735 euros. Basically, paper-based test will be good only for the candidates who don't have the chromatic center, which is nearby their location. And the disadvantage in paper-based testers, you will not get the result instantly, whereas in computer-based test, the moment once when you finish your exam, the screen goes blank, you take a 1 minute silence, and then it just pops up the result, and your result will be shown in a pass or fail status, and it will be very much instant. So most of the certification aspirants will go for CBT test in particular, where actually the result will be more instant, and the process of conducting the exam is much more simpler compared to paper-based test. And in case, due to unforeseen scenarios, in case you may need to reappear for the exam, again there will be a fee involved, where actually like for members it will be $600, and for non-members it will be $800 US. And similarly, if you go for re-examination paper-based test, it will be $500 for member, and $700 for non-members. And once when you successfully clear the PGMP certification, then it's not a one-time process. Basically, it will undergo the credential renewal process, where actually like once in every 3 years, you may need to renew the credential by providing 60 PDUs. In addition to that, as a PMI member, you may need to pay $60 US for credential renewal. In case you're a non-member, you'll be paying $150 US. A quick statistics of PGMP credential holders worldwide, the data which is taken as per October 2014. As per this period, there are around 1,129 credential holders worldwide, out of which majority of the credential holders are based in United States and Canada, which contributes around 58% and 7.5% worldwide. And as you know that actually these numbers are growing exponentially, and in the near future actually you may find that the numbers may easily exceed 10,000. So let's look for the numbers to grow much faster to gain the credibility for PGMP certification. Okay, let's look at the relationship between project, program, and portfolio management, also known as the triple P structure, where you can find the projects, the number of projects which can be grouped together under a program. This is where I was talking about the related projects. If there is a dependency between the projects, what happens is it can be managed under a program through a coordinated efforts. However, there could be certain projects where actually can't be grouped together so that it can be managed as a program. So such type of projects can directly be managed under the portfolio level. For example, this project can directly be managed under the portfolio of project. At the same time, it's not only the number of projects which can be grouped for a program. There can be the number of projects and can be other work. When we say other work, means it can be operational efforts or any other efforts which are neither project nor operational when it comes to be undertaken within the organization, which can be called as other work, can also be considered within the program lifecycle. And certain other work which don't have any dependency within the project components can also be managed under the direct interference of portfolio. So when we talk about portfolio, fundamentally what this portfolio does is it's a group of C-level executives, like for example CEO, CIO, CTOs. So those specific individuals who form a steering committee or a management decision body in much more senior level, they define the strategic direction for the organization. So they decide what is the level of investment decision to be taken for the organization, and also they decide what level of programs and how many number of projects within the program to be undertaken. So they take a strategic go or no go decision in terms of undertaking a program and project based on the best interest of organization taken into consideration. So basically the projects and programs technically report to portfolio. At the same time, the strategic direction from portfolio will get cascaded and then come to the program, and then further it goes to the project. That's which are delivered by the project get coordinated in terms of overall program level benefits being delivered, and ultimately once the programs are delivering the benefits, then the portfolio will satisfy its needs. So that's where the portfolio level will have the specific organization level vision and mission documented. So all the projects and programs will be aligned towards that vision and mission. So whenever the projects and programs are successful, then the portfolio is considered to be successful and it's slowly moving towards the strategic vision. And if the projects and programs fails, then ultimately the portfolio will also loses the direction, and so as the vision and mission cannot be achievable. That's why the level of alignment is more important in this triple P structure, where the project, program, portfolio all will be aligned towards a common thread. Let's look at certain advantages of PGMP certification. So basically, PGMP is considered to be the immediate next level of PMP. For PMP certified professionals, he or she will focus on program management as the next level to choose in the career path, because that is where actually in a management spectrum, you start as a project leader and then actually or a team leader, depends on organization designation, and then actually you move towards a project manager role and then gain some experience, and with that experience you go for professional accreditation. That's where actually you get the PMP certification, And then with that experience, you go to the next level and manage multiple projects in a spectrum of program under senior management shoes. So with that experience of program, you will get into the program manager level by getting into the PGMP certification. So that's how the career roadmap looks like in terms of managing projects and programs. And there are several other advantages of PGMP certification. There are around 1 million management professionals worldwide are certified in PMP, but only less than 2,000 are certified in PGMP, which has a direct comparison in terms of numbers. So this numbers clearly defines that PMP certification is considered to be a saturated market as far as the management market is concerned, whereas the PGMP certification is considered to be an emerging market where actually the numbers are expected to be exponentially increased. And also it reflects in the job market, especially in a job interview where the senior level management position, if there are 10 applicants with 9 applicants with PMP certified and 1 applicant with PMP and PGMP certified, so obviously a due weightage will be given for that applicant who hold the PGMP credential. It's not only for the credential the person holds, it also based on the immense amount of learning and knowledge that individual gained during the certification journey adds more value in order to manage the programs in a much more professional level compared to the other candidates who may have only the experience level of program management, not a real-time knowledge in terms of SPM best practice. So that's how the certified PGMP holders are considered to be one of the elite members in the program management community. And when we talk about the difficulty level, when we do a direct comparison between PMP and PGMP certification, PMP exam is not going to be easy. It is having its own difficulty level, can be considered as a difficulty level as harder, whereas PGMP certification is more than very hard. It can be more appropriate to say that the certification difficulty is intense in nature, where the scenarios and situations presented in the question for PGMP certification, which needs very thorough thought process, needs in-depth understanding of the concepts to get the right answer. So which means that intense preparation is needed in comparison with the hard-earned efforts of PMP certification. Now let's look at the format of PGMP exam. There are around 170 multiple choice questions will be there, whereas in PMP exam you may have around 200 multiple choice questions. Here the number of questions are low, but the difficulty level, as I mentioned earlier, it's much more higher. For example, when I compare the certification I did for PMP and PGMP, I finished my 200 multiple choice question in PMP certification in the span of 3 hours, whereas when I did for PGMP certification, I ended up in completing my entire 4 hours to answer that 170 multiple choice question for program management. So the numbers are low in terms of number of questions, but the efforts required to respond to those questions are much higher compared to PMP. That's where the difficulty level is much more harder compared to PMP certification. Out of this 170 multiple choice question, you may have 150 questions considered for scoring purpose and 20 questions are completely for research question, which actually the questions, irrespective of whether it is correct or wrong, it will not affect your final score. But unfortunate part is you may not know what are those 20 questions are. It's a randomly spread within this 170 question. So you may need to treat each and every question as a valid question in terms of responding an answer to that question. And as an outcome of the exam, you'll be getting only a pass or fail status in the exam. So which means that it is not a percentage-based breakup you'll get in terms of numbers. You'll be getting a pass or fail, and also you'll get a domain level proficiency in terms of whether you're proficient or moderately proficient or below proficient. Basically, there are 5 domains where you'll be measured against, and within these 5 domains, like what is your proficiency level that you'll get in your scorecard. So all this you'll be getting the moment once when you finish your exam in your Promatic Center. And the questions which are framed in the exam will test your knowledge about application and also the analysis in terms of the analytical depth, what you need to do in terms of your expert level of understanding. That's how the exam preparation becomes much more key to get that in-depth understanding about the concept level understanding and the knowledge needed for program management. So the format of PGMP exam, as we discussed, it's 4 hours time, and prior to this 4 hours start, you will have a 15 minutes tutorial where you will be getting familiarization. It will just talk about like how to use the online calculator and how to use the mark for review options, because there is an option which is called as mark for review. Like when you are answering every question will have 4 choices. You have to choose one of, make one of the choice and then move to the next question. So that's how we'll be answering all this 170 question. And whichever question, in case you find you are not comfortable, still you make a choice. The reason behind is there is no negative marking. So still make a choice and then move to the next question. And before moving to the next question, just make a mark for review option, choose. So the moment once when you choose mark for review, so what happens is once when you answer all the 170 question, then you can select the mark for review question separately at the end, and then actually you can have a relook on those questions. And then if you find that you want to change the options, then you can change your responses accordingly. All this exam is based on objective type. You may need to just select an option out of the 4, and then you may need to make a choice and then move to the next choice. So you have to use your time management in a more optimum way. Like you have to manage answering all those 170 questions within the span of 4 hours. The recommended approach is answering 50 questions per hour would be more appropriate. So what happens is, by the time when you complete 3.5 hours, you will be providing a response for all the 170 questions, most likely. And the last 30 minutes, for example, you can use it for mark for review purpose, so that you can have a detailed look on the specific questions where actually you are facing trouble, and then actually you can make the necessary amendments accordingly. And as far as the exam format is concerned, it's considered to be highly secured. So which means that your entire session of 4 hours of your exam is video recorded in the Programmatic Center, and you will not have any access to the books or mobiles or any other external aids. So using this is considered to be inappropriate practice, and then actually your session will be terminated and you'll be marked as failed. So you have to be very careful by not taking any external aids for your when you're attending the exam. Out of this 170 questions, you may get certain numerical questions, and also you may get certain questions which are completely text in nature. And these text questions will be more situational questions or certain scenario questions, where you can find that certain situation will be presented about a program manager and with the respective stakeholders who are involved in the program, and clear situation will be presented, and then certain direction change will be there. So basically, by seeing that question, what you have to understand is like what is the context of the question in the first place, so that actually like which part of the story it's talking about, and which process it's talking about, like what artifacts it's leading to. So these are the specific things that you may need to look at by going through the keywords in the question. And then once when you understand the context of the question, then you may need to look at the direction of the question, because the direction matters a lot, because the direction says that you do everything except what, or the question says that what is your immediate next step, or what is your last step. So the direction of the question, if you make a slight change in the direction of the question, your option may get changed accordingly. That's why when you're reading the question, look for the keywords to understand the context, and again look for the keywords, preferably in the last few lines, to understand what direction the question is leading to. Once when you understand this context and direction, then look at the 4 options and then see which answer is more appropriate to be chosen for the question. And you may find that the question, a single question may have 2 or more right answers, because it's just the difference between the perfect answer and the next perfect answer. So once when you have the higher level of understanding on the concept, you'll be able to narrow down what is that perfect answer is all about, then you'll make a choice. And remember, this exam is completely done based on a psychometric analysis process. Psychometric meaning it's a psychologically challenging exam. It tests the psychology of the candidate by managing multiple projects in the program level. So it talks about best practices by highlighting in different situations and scenarios. So don't expect the correct answer to be the 100% correctness within. So for example, you may get a question with 4 options, you may say that actually like the two answers is completely wrong. Sorry, two options is completely wrong. So you can use the elimination technique to eliminate these two options, and your answer may be with other two options. So here you can use the weightage technique. You can say that option A seems to be having 50% correct, and option B seems to be having 75% correct. So what you can do is option B is most likely the right choice. C and D you might have eliminated using your elimination technique. So these two techniques in the right proportion, you may need to use it when you're looking at the responses of all the four options. So that's how you have to use the elimination and the weightage technique in addition by reading the question and answer clearly. And all this has to happen in less than 1.5 minutes for every question, because you have 170 questions to be answered within the span of 240 minutes. So your time management has to go in the right direction in addition to all this analysis what you do. Also, you can find certain questions with extraneous information, which means that certain questions may have elaborated amount of information, which means that I've seen some questions where I need to use the scroll bar at the end to scroll it down and then read more information. So do not spend too much amount of time in reading stories, because some question will talk about a lot of stories, and such type of stories don't get carried away by reading a story reading mode. Just read the last few lines, and then as long as you're able to understand the context and the direction of the question, then actually move ahead directly by reading the four options and then try to make your choice, rather than spending time in reading line by line, word by word. That is not the purpose. Then you'll be losing your precious time. So these are some of the time management skills which you need to have in mind when you're actually taking your real-time exam. Okay, so let's talk about the evaluation process, like how the PGMP certification exam, the evaluation process is all about. So basically, for the certification process, there are two evaluation stages, the evaluation 1 and evaluation 2 stage. Evaluation 1 focuses on panel review and audit. So basically what happens is, the moment once when you fill in your application and submit the application to PMI, PMI will provide an initial level of approval to the applicant, and once when they will take around 1 or 2 weeks actually to provide an initial level of approval. And once when the approval is provided, then actually it goes to the next level where actually the PMI will ask you to do the credential payment, and the moment once when you make the payment, you will come to know whether your application is selected for audit or not. In case if it's selected for audit, you may need to complete the audit process by downloading the audit package and proceeding with audit process step, which is self-explanatory in terms of the guidelines. And in case if it's not selected for audit, it will directly move to the key stage, which is called as the panel review stage. This stage is very key. The reason behind this, PMI nominates certain panel review team members who are PGMP certified, who has a clear vision in terms of how the program management experience to be articulated by the candidate's application. So they look at the specific areas in the candidate's application, and then they will see that actually the level of experience, what you mentioned in the application, how relevant it is in comparison with the program management best practice. And they also see from multiple parameters kept in mind, like the demonstrated experience is typically a project experience, or it talks about a program experience. Does the candidate proven this experience with sufficient degree of examples, explanations? So all these things will be looked at. Team members happy with the candidate's application, then they will give a go-ahead to that application, and then actually like the panel review stage is considered to be cleared. If not, actually then the panel review will get back to the candidate saying that actually like the certain specific areas they will highlight, and they will say that actually your short and fall on these specific areas. And in that case actually like they will ask you to resubmit the application by resubmitting the specific areas being highlighted, and particularly the domain-based question and answer, because in your application there are 5 domain-based question and answer which you may need to answer. So they will ask you to resubmit by answering the domain-based question and answer. So that's why it's very important. The first go, when you submit the application, you have to mention your program management experience very clearly, articulated in SPM-based best practices format, and also answering those 5 domain-based question and answer. You have to be very clear in answering that by using the appropriate process, artifacts, and the tools and techniques, explanations, examples, and how you manage the program by achieving the strategic objectives, what benefits the program delivered. So those things very clearly you have to articulate. And highly recommended is, before you submit the application, you can send the application to a PGMP credential holder. Like for example, you can send it to me for a review, and then actually like once when the review is done, then it's recommended to submit the application directly to PMI to avoid the possible rejections in the panel review stage. And the moment once when panel review gives a go-ahead, which means that you will move from the evaluation 1 stage to the 2nd stage, where it will be considered as evaluation 1 stage as cleared. And the 2nd stage is straightforward, where actually it's about the credential exam, where the 4 hours exam, where you can select an appointment for Promatic Center, any Promatic Center worldwide for a computer-based test. And you can go for a paper-based test in case if you don't have a Promatic Center nearby your location, at least 300 kilometers surrounding. If you don't have one, then PMI authorized paper-based test will also be possible. And this exam is administered only in English language. However, you have various other language aids applicable, where actually you can find that English, the question will be displayed, and you may see that from the other language, the translated question with the responses will be there. But my suggestion is, if you're really bad at English, where if you find really bad in understanding the language and responding it, then you can use language aid, or else you go with English as a language. Because the problem is, the language conversion is not that straightforward, as you're aware, like how the language translation happens in Google Translate. Because when we talk about management specific terms, there may not be any direct translation possible. Like for example, when I talk about a management term like a progressive elaboration, it's not that easy to have a correct word which can address this progressive elaboration as a management term than just as an English language. By translating it to other languages is highly impossible. That's why do not use language aid unless if you really have a serious problem with English language. And your eligibility period of evaluation 2 is 1 year. Within this 1 year, you may need to take the exam with a maximum of 3 chances, and within this 1 year period. And it's highly advisable, put your best shot in the first go, so that actually like you pass the exam in the first attempt. And the moment once when you clear the evaluation 2 stage, then you are considered to be a credential holder from PGMP, and then you are welcome to the Elite Management Group, as simple as that. In this slide, we'll talk about how your PGMP credential process, in terms of how your journey looks like, right from the application submission till the credential renewal and expiration, suspension, all. The moment once when you're ready to start your PGMP certification journey, what you can do is you can go to pmi.org website, and then actually you can start filling the application, which is again an online process. It's not mandatory that once when you start your application, you have to submit on the same day. You have 90 days window. Within this 90 days, you can keep the application in draft mode and then submit the application at any stage. And the moment once when you submit your application, the PMI will take 2 weeks max, which is of 10 working days, to check for the application completeness review, and then they will get back to you. In case if they find that application is considered to be complete, so PMI will provide an initial acceptance, and then they will ask you to do the payment for application process. So that is where, as a PMI member, you will be paying $800 US. The moment once when you make a payment for the PGMP application, so you'll get an immediate mail from PMI whether the application to be selected for audit or no. Because in case your application is selected for audit, you will have the 90 days to send your audit materials. The process is quite straightforward, where you have to download the audit material, which is nothing but the number of programs what you mentioned in your application. You just need to download it and then get signature from your reporting manager or peer, whoever you mentioned as a contact point in your application, just need to get the endorsement. And then actually you have to send the audit package, hard copy, with to PMI. And in that audit package, you may also need to enclose your educational qualification also. And as far as this eligibility prerequisite is concerned, the training part is not mandatory. Like in PMP certification, we have 35 PDUs, which is considered to be a mandatory process. So for PGMP, there is no training as mandatory process. However, it's recommended for you to get the best practices trained in a training environment. And once when you complete the audit process, you may go to the panel review stage. And in case if your application is not selected for audit, it will directly go to the panel review. So that is the process where actually we just talked about, where the panel review group will look into the candidate's application, and then they will see that the level of relativeness of the program management related information presented by the candidate in comparison with the best practices of standards. And if the panel review is considered to be successful, then actually your evaluation 1 stage will be cleared, and then you will be moving to the next stage, which is nothing but the multiple choice examination eligibility stage. So here you will have your 1-year eligibility period. Within this 1-year eligibility period, you can take the exam with a maximum of 3 attempts, and then you have to clear the exam. So when we say 3 attempts means like it's highly recommended to take the exam in the first attempt by doing your in-depth preparation, and then clear it by putting your best effort. And the moment once when you clear the certification exam, then you are considered to be a certified PGMP, and your certification cycle starts right from there, the moment once when you get the certification. And the credential maintenance is for a period of 3 years, which means that for every 3 years, you have to renew your certification. And this credential renewal process is nothing but you have to maintain your credential in such a way to show the activeness in the profession. There are a lot of areas where you can show that you're active in the profession. For example, like attending trainings or giving trainings or doing paper presentation, or your actual management experience also carries certain PDUs. So overall, in the span of 3 years, if you manage to get 60 PDUs, you may need to report that 60 PDUs so that your credential will be renewed for the next 3 years. And you may need to continue renewing this credential every 3 years till the time you want to hold the credential. For example, if you hold multiple credential like PMP and PGMP, still you don't need to show separate 60 PDUs. You need to show only common 60 PDUs to renew both the credentials. So that actually like till your management career or the retirement point, where you feel that actually you may no longer need the certification, till that point you can continue to renew the credential so that you can use the credential in your certificate, in your management journey. And in case you don't renew the credential, what may happen is the credential will go in a suspension mode, which is for a 1-year period. The credential will be suspended. You'll be getting mails from PMI like your credential going to get expired, so please renew. So it's in suspension mode. So such type of mail notifications you'll receive. So it's very important to renew at that point. And if you don't renew during this 1-year suspension period, your credential will go to the expiry mode. So which means that once when a credential goes to the expiry mode, then actually like you may need to start right from the box 1, which is application submission. Then you have to continue in case you want PGMP certification once when it's expired. So that's how the entire credential process in terms of the journey, how it looks like. Though the journey seems to be a little extensive, but in my personal opinion, if you spend maximum of 2 to 3 hours per day, then you'll be able to finish the evaluation 1 and 2 stage within the span of 3 months. And when we look at the preparation materials for PGMP certification exam, the first and foremost material is your standards of program management, which is SPM version 3. That is the most important material for PGMP exam preparation. And also you need to have the PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Responsibility, which also talks about ethical standards and appropriate professional responsibility, which is needed for the management professional holder. And I have authored certain specific materials which also aid you in this exam preparation mode, which is PGMP One-Stop Shop. This PGMP One-Stop Shop covers all the essential elements of SPM v3, and also there are certain specific elements from PMBOK and things which are not covered in PMBOK and SPM, also covered in One-Stop Shop, considering the broader and wider scope of PGMP exam taken into consideration. So at least you may need to have 4 to 5 reads of this One-Stop Shop material. And I also converted the exam content outline in a diagrammatic format. So at least 4 to 5 reads of exam content line is also needed. So exam content line, at least 4 to 5 reads is very much important, which is needed from the exam point of view. And please note, this exam is not a test for memory. It tests the knowledge and level of experience of program manager through psychometric analysis. Hence, it's highly recommended to read, understand, and explore more program management related materials and articles, which are specifically aligned with PMI best practices. When we look at the high-level schedule for PGMP certification, overall from the activity point of view, like the application creation, submission, and till the approval point, it may take around 3 to 4 weeks. And the application approval, which is on a PMI dependent side, where 1 to 2 weeks where PMI provides initial approval. And audit process, in case if it's selected, it go for 2 to 3 weeks. And panel review stage may take 1 to 2 weeks max. And overall exam preparation, which is during the 1-year eligibility period, may take around 12 to 16 weeks of effort, which is around 3 to 4 months max. Assuming more the number of hours you can spend, the lesser the duration. So that's how it is directly related in terms of the time commitment, how much you can spend in terms of per day effort, so that actually you can shorten the schedule. Overall, we are talking about a total of 19 to 27 weeks efforts as far as this PGMP certification journey is all about. So as far as the training providers are concerned, so basically like it's highly recommended for the certification part is concerned, like for PMP, Project Management Professional Certification, the trainer is expected to be certified in PMP, so that actually it's not only the best practices are being taught in the training, there will be also a lot of experience related part and covered as part of the knowledge sharing exercise. So that's why it's highly recommended the PGMP course can be led by a PGMP certified instructor, so that actually like the knowledge sharing part can go much more simpler and smoother. And these are some of the top reasons to use PGMP reference materials. So basically the certification aspirants, as far as the PGMP community are concerned, they are heavily dependent on online forums like LinkedIn and other PMI websites, or even for getting basic information, because the number of credential holders are very low. And that's the reason where actually like the certification aspirants may find it more challenging to get the right resources in place for their preparation for certification, and also getting necessary support in a timely basis and getting in the right direction. So that's why actually like I would be very happy to assist you in the certification journey by providing the right direction, and also you're most welcome to make use of our reference materials so that actually like you will get the quality amount of time and the quality amount of materials which will be supported in your certification journey to shorten the schedule and go in an optimum pace. Overall, our objective is to smoothen your PGMP certification journey by providing the quality material in the timely format. And as far as now, there are hundreds of management professionals worldwide made use of my reference material and successfully earned the PGMP credential. You may look at their lessons learned and endorsement in my website, the below testimonial link. If you browse intellectarea.com, go to apps blog, you can able to see the collection of lessons learned. By now, we completed the introduction of PGMP certification. So I hope it has given you the complete overview in terms of the program management professional certification, and also the do's and don'ts and the specific area of interest are being covered. And let me know in case you have any specific questions in mind, so that actually like I'd be happy to discuss that with you. The question is, do you have specific dates for writing the exam? No, there is no specific date actually. It all based on your comfort level. Like once when you feel that you're ready for the exam, then actually you can have your exam slot directly fixed in online in Promatic website. And every day there are 2 slots available, that is in the morning slot and in the afternoon slot, so that you can fix a slot for this 4 hours either in the morning or in the afternoon. And this is very much centralized, where actually like you can directly get the slot booked. And you also need to keep in mind that actually this is a very much changing environment. So at least within 2 to 3 weeks before, you have to book your slot so that actually you'll be assured of your slot. Because actually there are more test takers worldwide, so the Chromatic Center will be quite busy in giving slots also. You may need to keep that in mind. Do we have any other question? PMP holders when apply for PGMP. Basically, there is no segregation between the candidates who hold PMP and PGMP. Basically, the PMI sees the candidates in a similar way, both PMP and PGMP in a similar way. The most important part is the person who already holds the PMP certification has undergone all this evaluation process. So they will be quite clear and familiar about the PM project management best practices. And also the efforts required for the certification preparation will be quite comparatively lower compared to those who don't have the PMP certification. So that's a difference actually. Other than the certification journey and the challenges and the way the PMI evaluate the candidates' overall scoring pattern for the performance what they did in the exam is all consistent. Of course, actually, as a part of the training process, you can make use of my question bank, which I authored. It consists of 440 questions, answers with explanations. How it works is as a part of your exam preparation, you can go through the one-stop shop and the ECO diagrams, which are these two are specifically my material. And in addition to that, you can use the PMI material of SPM version 3. So these three are considered to be your intense exam preparation material. And once when you complete 4 to 5 reads of this material, then it's highly advisable to take my question bank and then actually take the question and start responding the answer in a typical exam taking environment. And assuming that with a solid preparation, if you score around 80% at a minimum in your first attempt, then you can consider yourself that you are very much ready for the exam. So you can consider this as your gap analysis process before you actually take your exam. So that's how it works. What is the advantage of being member of Elite Management Group? Yeah, it's a good question. So basically the numbers are very low because at the moment there are only less than 2,000 management professionals part of PGMP. So basically there are immense amount of tangible and intangible benefits as part of this Elite Management Group. Because for example, myself as part of this group, I've gained a huge amount of credibility in management domain because of my extensive involvement in the training and consultancy sphere from program management aspect. It's more like the Elite Management Group, once when you complete the certification, it gives you an entry point. What it matters more is how you do the next in terms of leveraging your skills that what you gained in the program management during this journey helps you to create certain level of uniqueness in your certification or in your management journey, and then actually to add value in your overall profession. So there are candidates actually who are part of the Elite Management Group, did extensively more efforts in terms of training and consultancy, and then actually considered to be more pioneer in this industry, including myself actually. That is one of it. And second is actually from the job market point of view, you certainly have a first mover advantage because considering the 1 million PMPs, you are part of the Elite Management Group, which is certainly a first mover advantage when you actually tell that you are a PGMP certified. So basically that's why when it comes to job market, it is having a mixed set of tangible and intangible benefit together. Approximate volume of application rejection. Unfortunately, this is data which is maintained by PMI, so we may not have direct access to it. But based on my personal experience since last 3 years, who I closely work with hundreds of management professionals worldwide, I've seen that actually many candidates underestimate the PGMP certification journey. Like for example, particularly those who are PMP certified already, because while they draft the PMP application, they put in minimal amount of efforts. So with that thought process, they actually approach the PGMP application by giving very high level details in the PGMP application submitted. So in such instances, the panel review will certainly not happy because the information is not clearly demonstrating the program management abilities. So in that case, actually the panel review will go ahead and tell the applicant to either consider the panel review status failed and then or resubmit the application. So basically, they're not directly rejected. They give these two options. The first option is consider the panel review stages failed, or second choice is to choose to resubmit the specific areas of application. That is, you will be asked to resubmit only the domain-based questions. That is, 5 domain-based questions are there in the application. You may need to revisit that, and then you can resubmit. But remember, once you're getting a mail means the damage is already done, then you will have very limited chance to demonstrate your program management experience the right way during this stage. And it will be like a 50-50 stage, even the resubmission stage. And the final decision will be at the discretion of the panel review team members. And if they choose not to give a go-ahead, means actually the panel review stage will be considered as failed at that stage. So in that case, the panel review, the evaluation 1 stage is your application technically get rejected. So that's why it's very important to articulate the program management experience in the right way, the right combination of words, so that actually it can satisfy the PMI panel review's expectations. And you have given certain key insights on program management, you might have got it. So I would like to take the opportunity on behalf of KnowledgeHut team also and say thank you to all of you. And feel free to reach us for any assistance in your PGMP certification journey directly to me or the KnowledgeHut team. And wish you all good luck in this journey, and have a great weekend. Bye.